Boy, did I hear a juicy rumor today, Mr. Rivers. It was all over Twitter. I saw it on multiple fan message boards. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share it with you right now. You ready?
Right.
The rumor is as follows. Week 4 of college football is officially upon us. It started tonight. And before we get into it this weekend, disappointed faces all over the studio.
Right,
before we get into it this weekend, I want to know your final thoughts.
I think,
and they don't question him in terms of his ability. They question him being limited. That's one of the many adjectives I've heard. They question whether he's dynamic enough. Translation, is he going to put up enough stats for us to label him a great quarterback? And probably not, if that's how you define what a great quarterback is. Although I fully believe he has the potential, that's not what this team needs him to do. What this team needs him to do is what he's done so far, and that is not turn the ball over. Their crimson neighbors to the north, they haven't been able to do that. That's why they're already behind the 8 ball in the SEC West.
Complaining isn't always complaining. And I'll say this again, complaining isn't always complaining. Let me go back to last week's games because I think it'll have a radical effect on how games are played in the future. I want to talk about Nick Saban in Alabama versus Ole Miss. You know, Nick Saban sent a complaint into the SEC office about that Chad Kelly touchdown where a lineman was more than 3 yards down the field, correct? And this is something that goes on week to week in college football, so don't think that he's just whining. And if he was just whining, he'd have a reason to do it because they continue to blow calls. So situations like this, think about this 9 or 10 weeks from now, Josh, when we're talking about college football playoff time. These are the type of calls that aren't made that blow games. Texas Tech beats TCU straight up.
TCU, a top 10 team, right?
3.
Not in the JP poll, my friend. They took a preemptive plummet all the way outside the top 10 this week. No one really asked me about it.
Nope.
The answer was because I think what you just said is going to happen this weekend. You talked about the defense not being the same. You're absolutely right. You lose 5 starters to season-ending injuries over a 3-week period. That'll decimate pretty much any defense. UCLA is probably about to deal with this. If I knew Miles Jack would be out, I probably wouldn't have them at number 2 right now. I mean, is it scheme change? I don't think so. Is it personnel change? What moves can you really make? You lack depth there. But overall, what happens? If Mississippi State takes a lead late in the game, what happens there? How do you respond? If Dak Prescott and the Bulldogs start moving the football on you, if the offense for Auburn doesn't hum immediately with a new quarterback, if Sean White throws a couple of early picks, if they turn the ball over, how do they respond? Because what is Auburn made of? Because they have folded like an accordion in big moments so far this year.
Yeah, I'm very glad you said that because if you watch that LSU game, everybody talks about the physical nature of what LSU did to Auburn. It was nowhere near the mental capacity that they lacked. I'm glad you said that.
You guys are giving Texas Tech too much credit for beating a bad Arkansas team.
I said nothing about Arkansas. I said nothing about the reason I thought they were going to do that because they beat Arkansas. Bad team.
The light on the side of my face is so bright, I can actually do shadow puppets. That's a rabbit. You see that? It's a rabbit.
And I said that was a long time ago.
It was.
So I can't even go into a deep analysis about this because to me it's a ridiculous. I'm sorry. No, I won't say that. No. Louisiana Monroe won't beat Alabama.
All right, so that's your answer from him, Teddy. I'm just going to tell you no and not insult your intelligence. I'm just going to tell you it probably won't happen.
Mississippi State is very young. They've got a dynamic quarterback, but they're not built to win the SEC West this year. So, no, they're not a contender if they beat Auburn.
So this is a rearrange of the furniture in the basement of the West
Basically.
game. Yeah.
Basically.
Do you know who I picked to finish last in the West?
Was it Mississippi State?
It was a Mississippi team.
Oh, I picked Mississippi State.
You know, it was Ole Miss. Ooh. But then in the very next breath I said, but I could see them winning the West. So when we replay at season's end our preseason shows, that's the part we're going to go with.
Where's that? Right.
It's easy because you don't have to live with the ramifications if you're a fan. You can just call for things to happen, and if they don't work out, say, oh well, and go eat your lunch. A head coach can't. A head coach's job is on the line. You know, you make a few of these decisions and they don't work out, and then another guy is in cleaning up your mess. I know, because that's how Gus Malzahn inherited Gene Chizik's mess at Auburn. What if it doesn't work out? What if Sean White goes into the half with 3 first-half interceptions Saturday? What do? Because Jeremy Johnson, you talked about mental toughness, does not strike me as the most mentally tough kid in the world. Now, I'm a fan of his. I have no problem with him, nor should Auburn fans, aside from the on-field play. A lot of personal things being said about that kid that shouldn't be said is what I'm saying. So I don't have any idea. And quite frankly, I don't think they do either. This is plan B. There is no plan C for Auburn. Very quickly here. Are the Lane Kiffin rumors true? Asks Taj in Columbus. And I'll be honest, Mr. Rivers, I don't have any clue what he's talking about.
I couldn't care less what rumors are true. We did a segment on this show a month ago talking about, what was it, bowl predictions. And I said Kiffin would be a head coach somewhere else before Alabama plays a bowl game this year. And I had nothing to do with whatever rumors anybody's trying to tell me. I just think he thinks he'll be a great head coach and somebody's going to hire him.
The question on everyone's mind, not can Sean White succeed as Auburn quarterback, not who will start at quarterback for Alabama. It's can I take this streak to 4-0? Matt, put the picks up, please. Let's take a look at the board. Mississippi State, Auburn haven't changed on this all week, just not quite as confident as some people are in Mississippi State, mainly because I've watched college football before and I know how this stuff turns out. But Mississippi State at 2 there. Tennessee at Florida, talked about balance being the key for Tennessee earlier tonight. I think the Vols will get the job done. Haven't moved on A&M all week, although this is once again one of those games where strange things could happen. UCLA I have completely switched on because I'm good for at least one flip-flop a week. Arizona, not much confidence there. That's a tough place to go play anyway, especially when you're missing multiple key players. So I'll give Arizona the 1 there. And Southern Cal, must-win game. This is basically for them in the Pac-12 what Tennessee, Florida is for Tennessee. That's why I like the Trojans and the Vols. Mr. Rivers, you're up.
I told you I would increase this. And I'm firmly confident that Arkansas gets its first conference win this year in its first conference game. Texas A&M is the type of team that's going to be high risk, high reward. I think they're the Oregon of the SEC now. You'll see Kyle Allen be put in a lot of compromising situations. I think Arkansas beats them.